Welcome to Inside the Bad Idea Factory, a quick hit podcast that helps keep you up to date on West Virginia politics. I'm your host, Ryan Deems. I am a teacher, current political candidate, and political junkie from Clarksburg, West Virginia. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to 3 bills that I consider to be good in solving real problems in West Virginia. Let's get started. The first bill we're going to talk about today is Senate Bill 17, and it is called the Summer Feeding Bill. It's introduced and sponsored by Mike Romano, my senator in Harrison County, 7 fellow Democrats, and 2 Republicans. It is in the Senate Education Committee, and then it is recommended to go to Senate Finance. And it has been there since the first day of session, January 12th. What it does, it encourages school districts to look at opportunities to provide students with food insecurities meals in the summer and at non-school periods. These opportunities can involve and coordinate with public, private, religious, and charity options. Counties would not be required to implement the program, but they would have to conduct at a minimum, at least one survey of student eating habits and access to nutritious food in and out of school periods. This is important because food insecurity is a large issue in West Virginia. We saw a great need for meals to be provided during the pandemic and increased the use of food banks. Academic programs with a nutrition component, like Energy Express in the summer months, has been filling that gap for a long time. Several counties in West Virginia also offer an additional school meal after school hours throughout the school year, and they're usually tied to athletic practices or after-school programs. Additionally, West Virginia is full of food deserts. These are areas that lack access to fresh and nutritious foods. While we might think of this as a rural problem, and it is, there are more urban or city settings that face this problem than you think. For example, downtown Clarksburg became a food desert when the local Kroger closed. There is not a grocery store with fresh food in walking distance for almost all of downtown, and public transportation to a grocery store is limited and complicated. Most of what they have downtown now are Dollar Generals and Family Dollars, which you can't get good, nutritious food that these kids need. If we can make sure the kids are fed utilizing non-traditional programs, I fully believe we should. What can you do to help? Like I said before, this bill seems to be stuck. It is double referenced, meaning it has to go through 2 committees. First, you should call the Senate Education Committee at 304-357-7805 and ask Chairwoman Rucker to put the bill on an agenda and support its passage. The next bill we're going to talk about today is House Bill 4252, Reducing Copay Cap on Insulin and Devices. This bill is sponsored by Delegate Rohrbach from southwestern West Virginia, I believe the Huntington area, and several Republicans. There's also one Democratic sponsor. It has passed the House on January 26th, and it has been referred to the Senate Health and Human Resources Committee on January 27th. So this bill is moving and probably has a high likelihood of passage. This bill builds on a piece of legislation that passed last session and is currently law that limited the copay on insulin to $100 per month. This bill adds language about devices needed to deliver insulin and lowers the cost of a copay for insulin to $35 for a 3-month supply. For devices, the cost sharing cannot exceed $100 for a 30-day supply. The cost sharing for an insulin pump may not exceed $250 and is limited to 1 pump every 2 years. This is good because health is important and people need medicine and supplies at a reasonable cost. In an ideal world, this wouldn't have to be passed in individual states and we would have affordable health care throughout the United States, but this is a good step in helping people cope with diabetes and making sure that they're taken care of. What can you do to help? As I said, I think this bill is going to pass, but you can call the Health and Human Resources Committee in the Senate at 304-357-7902 and ask Chairman Maroney to put the bill on the agenda of the committee and get it going through to the floor of the Senate so it's passed and can go to the desk of the governor. The final bill we're going to talk about today is Senate Bill 191, and the lead sponsor is David Bugs Stouffer, a Republican from Wyoming County. And this bill has actually already completed both houses. It's gone through the House and the Senate and was sent to the governor on January 28th. He now has 10 days to act on the bill or allow it to become law without his signature. This bill allows poll workers to work either a full or half day during elections. Why is this important? Well, polls are open for 13 hours for each election in West Virginia, and poll workers are required to be there before and after closing. This makes for a really long day, and counties and municipalities have struggled to get enough poll workers in the past. The option to work a shorter day might be appealing for people who can dedicate 6 or 7 hours, but have other responsibilities that can't be passed on or forgotten about on Election Day. Both chambers voted to make this effective upon passage of the bill, so this would be in place for the upcoming primary elections. What you can do to help is call the governor at 304-558-2000 and urge him to sign the bill. Based on how quickly it moved through both houses, this bill should be signed and become law very, very soon. I hope you found today's episode to be informative. There are some good bills going through the West Virginia legislature right now. There are some that aren't so good, and we'll talk about those in future episodes. But please make sure that you stay informed and you stay involved. The state government is much more important to your daily life than all of the hoopla in the federal government. So I will, in the show notes, put links to the bills that we talked about, the phone numbers I discussed, and please be involved. Until next time, this is Ryan Deems, and you just listened to Inside the Bad Idea Factory.